What's up, Panda Gang? We are back with Easy Deity True Start Location, playing as John Curtin's Australia. The goal is science victory, easy defense of our home island. Shouldn't be tough, right? Then we just build a bunch of campuses and call it a day. Well, not so. As you see, there are tons of units on the map. We've got ourselves a dang barbarian who screwed up my whole settler plan. We've got Maori trying to settle on the south. We got Indonesians settling to the northeast. And things are not looking as easy as I thought they were. Anyways, the goal last episode was to settle as many cities as we could, and that will be the same this episode as well. Keep it simple. First goal at any time, have a good defensive posture here. Have lots of units. We got a couple of warriors, a slinger, and an archer to fight off the barbarians. Other than that, we've made friends with most of our neighbors except for Coupe, although he's no longer denounced me. So first step, security. Step 2, take as much land as you can in the entire game. And we'll continue to work towards that right now. In Canberra and Brisbane, we are just pumping out tons and tons of settlers. We've got this card in here. What is this? Colonization, 50% production towards settlers. Up in the north, these cities are a little bit less mature. I have them both building monuments to get loyalty, but not just that, also culture, so they can expand their borders as quickly and as largely as possible, seeing as these are contested lands. I want to get, not only do I want as many cities as I can, I want as many tiles as I can to possibly work. And good to see the Indonesians fighting with the barbarians. They do look pretty set on settling the southwest, though. Maori, I've lost exactly where their dude lives. Luckily, we got rid of that barbarian scout. Okay, I'm sensing some indecision from the Maori. They've gone along the southwestern tip of Australia here, and Indonesia seems to be going back and forth between the gypsum and the salt. Every single turn that they waste going back and forth is great for me. I want to send one settler up to the northwest. Okay, that looks like, what, 6 turns? 5 turns. 6 turns, not bad. And another settler will go a little bit more of a southern route and try to eat up as much land as possible, staking our claim. Oh no, there it is. The first city settled by the Maori on my lands. And that is tough because it ruins both of the potential settles I was going for. We'll have to delete this tack. We'll have to delete that tack. And in that exact turn, we had barbarian spawn right in the middle of where we're trying to, you know, send our settlers to be useful. Anyways, let's think real quick about where these guys ought to go. So we have one tack that we're going to keep near Canberra. I like that one. There's another good city here on the wheat. These are both ones we want to keep. Sadly, my city to the southeast is now gone. I'm going to remove this tack, place a new one as close as I can to the Maori city here. I might still be able to get some horses and secure myself a good defensive position on that city by enveloping as many tiles around it as I possibly can. Then on the northwest side, it looks like I've got a couple settle options. I think I'm going to go for settling right here on the gypsum if possible. We've got to get the settlers out here, and these dang barbarians are just not letting me do anything I want to do. Nice to see, though, Geelong finished their trade route. I'm going to have them send one to Melbourne. I want to keep pumping up this city because it's the one closest to the Indonesians. Melbourne's a bit more sheltered, and it's got great tiles. Look at this. Massive yields on the turtles, massive yields on the fish without even improving, and we've, of course, got that cattle, too. Geelong's been working this somewhat crappy, I must say. 2 culture, 2 faith, and 1 production tile. At least for growth, it's not that great. It should mean grabbing more tiles soon, though. 5 turns until tile growth. Looks like we're getting 1 tile every maybe 8 turns. And honestly, going for some more growth here just to work more 3 yield tiles. I'm actually happy enough to keep doing what we're doing here, going with this non-food tile we're working. Anyways, the city is ready to produce. We're going to go ahead and buy a tile, grab myself a campus. Look, that's plus 5 campus here with the adjacent reef from the fishes and also the high appeal. Let me go click the right tile for appeal. There we go. Breathtaking appeal is going to give me plus 3. Look, 1, 2, 3. These dark green tiles. Look at all these, especially along the east coast here of Canberra. That's gorgeous. And by our nice Uluru Natural Wonder. I'm going to click on John Curtin here and take a look at the land down under. Any of these guys, campus, commercial site, holy site, theater square, you're going to get plus 1 with charming and plus 3 bonus with breathtaking appeal. This is going to be huge once we get this complete here in Geelong. In Melbourne, on the other hand, I want to go for some Eurekas. I'm going to grab a builder. First one I want to get is for Celestial Navigation, get myself a harbor, improve 2 sea resources. I'm getting ready here to choose my government, political philosophy coming in just 1 single turn. As I mentioned, government unlocked. We're going with the Classical Republic to get tons. Ooh, do I want that, really? I do think this one is the best. All my cities with a district, which will all get one district in each city, is going to get amenity, housing, and we're getting lots of these economic policy cards, which I, of course, need. We're going to keep the production towards builders, and then use urban planning. Great, like, solid card. You can never go wrong with that. And finally finish off with discipline for that extra combat strength when fighting these dang barbarians down here in the south. Luckily, my friend the Maori warrior has decided to step up and help with this scout situation. I'll go ahead, punch him one time, move up my settler nearby, and then my other settler I'm hoping can just skirt right by, avoiding the scout's detection with the Maori warrior sitting in the way. Now there's a chance that I get screwed because the warrior walks away, the barbarian scout goes and grabs my settler. But sometimes, man, you just gotta get lucky. Now with civics, we just got political philosophy. I'd like to get military tradition just for this flanking and support bonus, but I feel like that's not the play. Maybe instead I go for natural philosophy. This is gonna take a few turns, but 100% campus district adjacency bonuses. That's gonna be huge when we've got this campus right here, a 5 campus. I believe that's gonna double that up to 10 for me. Okay, perfect. The Maori warrior helped me with the barbarian scout. I love to see that. Looks like my slinger's taking some damage here from a spearman, but I should be able to do a little bit of footwork on him. Grab myself the camp, take a shot at the spearman, hit him with the slinger. Bye. That's wonderful. This opens up my settler to do a mad dash for the tile wants to sit on, which is close as possible to this Wanganui. Okay, we'll get that next time. Here comes that celestial navigation. Eureka, beautiful. We're even get an arrow score out of that. Nice to see. Looks like we're gonna hit the era okay. Stay in normal age, which is wonderful. Melbourne doing so well for itself. We got both those fish tiles being worked. And don't even need the cattle yet, but 2 turns will be farming that cattle up too. Now we've got to start talking about this northwest settle. With this tack here, let me remove that. You can see it's a -11 on the loyalty front, which is not good. There's just so much Indonesian population in this area, and not as much here in a city like Geelong. As I mentioned, the food situation is not that hot. Let's do a quick check on if we can make it good. Let's say focus food. You will grow in 7 turns. Ooh, okay, I'm gonna have to do that. Just get a little bit more loyalty in the area, but we're gonna have to do some fancy stuff, so we'll come back to that soon. Just keep in mind, every game you get one city that no matter how terrible the loyalty is, unless it's something like -20, -30, you can secure that city. Oh, hello, Tokimoon of Japan. Nice to meet you. And look, we've met Kyoto. It's up here in the north. And that seems to be quite far away from where I live. Hopefully they don't try to settle my nice lands of Australia too. So preparing for this whole loyalty situation in our newly founded city, I'm going to purchase as many luxuries as I can. That's going to make my people happier, which in turn gives you more loyalty in that city, or at least stops them from being unhappy. And if they're unhappy, you even lose loyalty. And I don't need to tell you why that's a terrible thing. Anyways, first city going down here by the Maori found city. Now here's the thing. When you play in this game and the AI do the same garbage to you, where they settle on what is clearly your land, I want you to settle as close as you possibly can to them. Lucky here, city of Perth falling at 5 loyalty per turn. That's not so great. And then you go ahead and buy a tile 2 tiles away from their city to get as close as possible. And what we're going to do is slap down an encampment right here, which is going to make it so easy to steal this city away from the Maori later that you're going to forget it's Deity Difficulty, Prince, Settler, whatever. It's literally a free city. So we got this planning in here for the future. We're going to let them build up the city, build whatever. Oh, a theater square? Wonderful. Thank you for that theater square. It's on Charming Appeal, so we'll get a +1 on that. But the city is as good as ours in the future. As for what the city's working, we've got ourselves a horses, which is great. I'm not going to spend production on a monument because I'm actually going to purchase one out when we hit that 240 gold mark. As a new city, I want to be importing stuff, so like import gold. I'm not going to spend production on something that I can buy with gold. It's actually something critical like a monument to actually get me loyalty. Instead, let me place down a harbor right here. It's only a +2 because there's nothing around but the city. But there's so many coastal tiles here that I'll be able to work with that later on. And this is something that money cannot buy. You can't import a whole harbor. You have to actually put your production into that. So that's what Perth can work on for now. A little bit of micromanaging. Magnus, why don't you come over to Perth, buddy, to make sure that the loyalty isn't doing too bad. But look, we got a -3 due to happiness. Right, we mentioned that before. We're trying to buy the luxuries we can. And then we're getting a -2 due to nearby citizens. And that's Maori right there, this 2-pop Waganu. Okay, so Maori a little bit upset with what I was doing here, and they seem to be amassing quite a few forces around my land. So the city of Brisbane, pretty scouting. I'm sending Archer back in there and just hope we don't end up going to a war here. I've got a warrior nearby. I'm going to have them heal up. And then yet another slinger go all the way to Melbourne. That can become an archer at the quickest of times. We can just spend the gold. But let's just hope it doesn't come to that. Let me look at our relationship here. Oh, like civs who respect the environment. See, I got rid of one tree. So this guy's actually quite upset with me here. I might need to... Okay, so we're close to shipbuilding. This was just like something to park my text into. I'm going to go for masonry, unlock the ancient walls. Let me look at civics too, something like military training, defensive tactics. That is what's great for getting lots of walls up. Something I might have to do before I get all the way onto recorded history here. Either way, I'm pretty locked in to my current government cards. Settlers, I need. Urban planning's always good. I would like to swap out charismatic leader for something real quick, which is, let's go city-states here. I can get a envoy at Bandar Brunei, but I can't actually put it in just yet because, look, I've got charismatic leader instead of diplomatic league. So let me go back to military tradition. I'm going to want flanking and support bonus if I get into war with the Mari. And this way we can swap out that one card we want to swap out, and then potentially get on to defensive tactics where we can get extra production towards building our walls, which is going to be key in keeping these guys off of us in the ancient or classical age, I guess we're in now. Anyways, we are going to found this here city on a -10 loyalty tile. Now, that is pretty scary, I know, but look, we are going to get this done. Sydney falling at 12.5 loyalty per turn. Absolute destruction. Down here in Perth, I'm happy to see that we're only getting a -2 from nearby citizens. Our dudes are now happy. That is great. Let's reassign you over to Sydney. Wonderful. In Sydney, we seem to be lacking in amenity. Luckily, we've got ourselves a builder in the neighborhood to grab some salt. Looking at deals, I cannot purchase any. That's a damn shame. But as I mentioned, every game, whether you realize it or not, no matter how bad the loyalty is, and falling 4.5 is not bad. It's not bad. You can always keep that city. So let's go ahead and, I was going to say purchase this tile, place down the government plaza. You get it right here. That's a great spot to put the government plaza. And that'll give you a +8 loyalty per turn. You can chop it out super fast. You get Magnus in here. You have your builder. Sit right on this forest, chop it down. Dude, you can have that government plaza done in no time, and boom, no loyalty problem. But the thing is, dude, there's almost no loyalty problem anyways. With Geelong expanding soon, Melbourne, population's growing, and we're gonna have more settlers coming out here soon enough. You better bet. I think it's actually fine not to go for that government plaza just right away. Instead, I'm gonna save that for another city which might have some more trouble, like this one all the way out here. That might not work too, because you have to harvest something. You know what, sorry for flip-flopping so much, but we're going to go and put the government plaza down right here. It's in a beautiful place. All these tiles around here are good for nothing but building districts, especially the ones near the Uluru, because we're going to get a +3 adjacency bonus from that breathtaking appeal. I looked at that by pressing number 3. And while it is not the most crucial at this exact moment, who knows what happens? Maybe they get a golden age. But anyways, this is how you do it. If you have some city you can't hold, place a government plaza down, get yourself a builder on a forest, and a Magnus established, and you can chop that thing out, and you get crazy loyalty. And here we go, the denunciation from Coupe. I'm glad it wasn't just a straight-up surprise war. I'm a little bit surprised it wasn't, to be honest, because this guy's a bit of a brute. So it's been 1 turn since they denounced me. Hitting next turn, so it's going to be 2. If you want to declare a formal war on someone and get less grievances by not doing surprise war, it's going to take you a whole 5 turns. So I'm guessing 3 turns from now, we're going to get that declaration of war. Just going to try to get as many units into defensive places as possible. Canberra here, relatively defended by this mountain range. But I'm going to have masonry done very soon. I need that big time. Get myself some ancient walls, especially in these like more far-flung cities. I have a warrior defending it, but that's not that great. In Melbourne, I'm going to have an archer now. I think most of the army is sitting right here in these unseen tiles. Going to Jatara here and saying, hey, do you want to go to war with Coupe? She seems to be down with this. They'd even give me 100 gold to go ahead and do this. 6 gold per 30. Dang, so she would be down. Checking their relationship here, just unfriendly. But that might be a decent preemptive thing. And you know what? If they do end up going to war with me, I can probably go back to Jatara and say, like, yo, can you please help me with your 460 military strength of nice naval vessels? Which I obviously don't have. Anyways, back to the eco here. Sydney falling at 5.4 per turn. We're going to go ahead and get ourselves a mine that gives us a luxury resource, which is going to reduce it to 2.4. It's a lot more manageable. Going to hit next turn. This should be 3 turns since that denunciation. We've got a new settler. Hopefully they can get out to a decent spot in time. And just like that, I'm going to go over to military tradition and swap out of getting tons and tons of settlers. We don't need any more of those bad boys. What we need is some semblance of a navy and some semblance of an army. So I'm gonna get a couple galleys going. And I'm gonna make sure to keep one builder with one charge alive, just in case things go down, they start pillaging stuff out. I want to be able to repair that, and not have to like buy a whole new builder just to repair some stuff. Okay, these guys still flexing. I think that's 4 or 5 turns. We can check our sales military traditions so we can get production towards regular units. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of discipline because we're done fighting off the barbs. Everything else looks pretty good to me except for diplomatic leagues going in. And I thought I was going to get rid of the settler card, but I think that's the way to go just because we have that extra eco card. We're not building builders right now, and Brisbane is still going to be using that, getting us 5 production per turn. That's pretty strong. So now with that galley card plugged in, Melbourne down to 5 turns on this galley. Canberra down to just 3. That is gorgeous. This means we go back to games and recreation. 5 turns, perfect timing. We'll have a couple galleys out there, so we'll have a decent navy to go up against my man Coupe. Make sure we stay friends with Jatara. That's wonderful. Oh, and I almost forgot, but Bandar Brunei, we can go ahead and place a single envoy there. That's going to give us 2 of the bad boys, and now we're going to get an extra 2 gold in the capital. On top of our already great trade deals, plus 23 from trade deals. I wonder if this is some city-state we want to go for a long term. Let's look in a bit more. The Bandar Brunei unique bonus. Your trading posts in foreign cities provide plus 1 gold to your trade routes passing through or going to the city. So whenever you send a trade route to a city, you establish a trading post there. So if you send a trade route through a bunch of cities that you've already sent trade routes to, you're going to get crazy amounts of gold. That seems like a pretty good one, especially later on in the game once you've actually established yourself. Checking out the loyalty, I got a little notification on the right there, but we're only falling at 0.1 loyalty per turn. Things are looking good up here in Sydney. With Magnus established too, I did want to keep this builder, but I also want to go and free up Magnus to be available other places too in case loyalty, happens. And just to complete this little loyalty hack for you guys here. Ancient Walls unlocked. That is brilliant. Perth, buddy, you're getting to work on the Ancient Walls. Coupe here, so I can check if I can go to, declare formal war. So this guy can also declare a formal war on me. Done a bit of scouting of the units. Some out here to the west. We got 1 Maori over here in the south, and then a couple units between Brisbane and Melbourne in the north. I'm kind of scared to chop down this forest to get my government plaza because Coupe is going to freak out. He might declare war on me just off that. Anyways, a couple more turns into shipbuilding. That'll let my land units embark, which might be key in getting dudes over to the west side over here if the entire middle is sort of screwed over by barbarians, Maori warriors. If I can get some galleys out there, not only for the boost, but for naval supremacy, well, then that could help my settling. And down in Tasmania, too, I could settle on those sheep's campus near Geelong. That's got me 3 aero score because it's so dang good. Let me hover over this guy real quick. A +5 science campus, and we're doing good on the science now. This hasn't updated just yet, but we're on par with Coupe in both respects. So we better be careful, man. Anyways, in Sydney, I've made sure to swap over this here tile so that the reward actually goes to Sydney. Let's go ahead and chop out these woods. And just like that, we've got tons of loyalty in the city. Magnus can get reassigned all the way back to Brisbane, which is going to have a settler come out in just 5 turns. The exact same amount of time it takes Magnus to establish, so I'm going to have them work on Ancient Walls for just 1 turn and then flip back. Pretty simple micromanage there, and we are lucky enough to secure the new city of Ballarat. I think that's the better pronunciation. First thing these guys have to think about, okay, what are you working on? Some cattle, okay. Literally 0 production in this city. Let's get to work on a harbor because this is going to take a long time to actually get there, my friend. A long time. Shipbuilding, looks like the Eureka should handle that from here. So let's go after horseback riding. I don't know if we'll actually build any horsemen, but it wouldn't be bad to have the option. And we've got a new governor appointment. So let's look at Magnus first. We get surplus logistics, helping with city growth and more food across the empire. Instead, I'm going to go with Pingala, which is absolutely crucial for a science victory game. We're going to get 15% more science and culture in one of our cities, and then these connoisseur researchers are also really nice early on in the game. So let's grab this dude. We're going to send them north to Geelong, which has overnight turned itself into our largest producing science fella. Let's check that's actually true. There's 5, and then we got 3 in Melbourne. Down in Brisbane, we're producing 4 in Canberra. 3.5, so actually everyone's sort of contributing to this. Now in the government plaza building of Sydney, Ancestral Hall is great for settling, Warlord's Throne is good for warmongering, doing neither of those. Audience Chamber, great for a very tall but not wide game. What it gives you though, amenities and housing, I seem to have plenty of those, so I don't need to focus on this for now. Instead, Sydney, with its relatively meager productive capacity, like look around here, these are not good tiles. Let's get to work on some kind of, oh, we can't get to work on a district because it doesn't have enough housing. A district adjacent thing though is walls, because you cannot purchase walls with money. So I'll put the production into this now, and then we just pray that the city grows quick. I have to give this place horses. That way they have at least a single good tile to work. And Geelong here, they've got a pretty good growth and productive potential, even without that one tile. In Geelong, with this Pingala coming in soon, let's grab a library. This will get us towards more science, and maybe we can shelter this city from whatever wars happen to us. Another strife across our good lands. And check this out, 2 arrow score for getting out onto the sea. Good on us, fellas. We've done great. Let's do a wee bit of exploring and get ourselves another galley too. We want to get as many of these guys out as we can before the age turns over. Sorry, not age, the culture turns over. I'm not sure why the game is saying, hey, work this 2 food tile when there's a 1 food 3 production tile right here. That is just insane to me, but we'll go and correct that for them. Eureka, knowledge of shipbuilding has advanced considerably. That's wonderful. We got the games in recreation as well, and now we have quadriremes. Our units are allowed to embark. Great. We're still going to go towards, this opens up a new, more mobile kind of defensive strategy I want to go for here. I've got 1 archer for these northern 3 cities, which is not great, but if I can own the seas and I can send the archer between cities, then no matter where the Maori come at me from, I should be okay. Similar down in the south, although I'm not nearly as dominant in these seas. I will have a new galley soon. Don't forget about that. But at least all these cities down here, Perth, Ballarat, Canberra doesn't actually have itself a warrior. That would be optimal, but it's sort of behind my cities, and Brisbane's got themselves an archer. Our next civic will be defensive tactics. This unlocks bastions, which makes your city stronger and do more damage if they've got ranged strikes, which my cities don't have yet. But limes, 100% production towards defensive buildings. We can get walls up in no times if we're the target of a declaration of war. So I'm going to get this maybe 6-7 turns into this, so that if we do get war declared on us, we're going to have quick walls going up there. I'm starting to get less worried about the Maori though, just because it's been so long since they denounced me and they've not yet declared war. So on the government front, we can do a little bit less of the military. We've built our boats. Let's instead focus on getting some builders around. And I'm going to put charismatic leader in there, of course, for those 2 influence points per turn. I want to get myself some builders all over the place here. Perth, only 8 turns to get a builder. 100% I'm doing that. I want to get these horses looking good. I want to chop down this forest, piss off Coupe a little bit. Similar things here in Sydney. Let's get ourselves a builder. Only 10 turns. Well, these cities are pretty strong with that urban planning. 5 production, 6 production. That's not bad at all. I see Melbourne has some productive capability as well. Now, I would like to get a campus down. Look at that, +7, a +9. This is insane. Brisbane, do you have, hold on. I need to put down a campus here to remind me of this. So it says +6, but we all saw what we saw. Brisbane, they've got some awesome opportunities for tiles as well. Sorry, campuses, to put down great adjacency bonuses. Even with those crazy bonuses, I'm going to go and grab myself a builder too. Everyone can work on that same sort of stuff. And we can make the most of our card boosts. So here it comes. Oh my gosh, Canberra getting smoked right off the jump. Good thing we've got a galley coming out in 1 turn. It's now totally surrounded. Oh my gosh, and here we are into the medieval era. Just like that, inspiration for defensive tactics is up. But what a place to leave it off, guys. We're going to have to end the video there. Going over our fundamentals, we settled Sydney, Perth, and Ballarat. Only got a couple more cities we need to settle. 1 here on the wheat. We could get 1 near the Uluru and then 1 out in the west too. In the city of Perth, we settled it so close to that enemy city, and we've gotten ourselves a tile 2 spaces away from the city. So we can put a catapult in an encampment here, and it can just get ourselves a free city. Okay, so that's definitely going to happen. Honestly, with the war being declared now though, who knows, maybe we'll just go and full on assault them this minute. On the battlefront, it's definitely looking a bit scary. In the north, I'm not too worried, okay? Indonesia seems to be backing us up decently. They don't like Coupe either, but down in the south, especially around our capital, we are on the ropes, man. We have no land troops to help, and they are just surrounding this eastern productive portion of our lands.
Thanks for watching, Panda Gang. When I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to actually pay for Windows, so make sure to subscribe. Peace.